So in this video we are going to learn about the Microsoft project. So in order to start the Microsoft project, what you have to do is that you can right click and you can go to the new, and there will be Microsoft project document. So if this is not available, the first thing which you have to do is that you need to maybe uh, get a paid version of the Microsoft project document for working with the Microsoft project document. So once you open the Microsoft document, it will look like this. You will have a Gantt chart area and you will have a timeline area, and this is also a timeline area, and you will have task, resources. So in the task we'll be using various indentations. This is called as an intent task. This is the right intent, and the left intent is called as outdent. And you have resources where you will assign the resources, and there are reports where we will work with, and there are project for the project information, for getting the project information, and in the view we will be working with the entire project, and we will be using also the resource usage and the sheet. And this is the Gantt chart area. So if you right click on the Gantt chart area, you will get all this resource form, graph, sheet, usage, etc. And if you want to see that, you will get the task, and in the task you can actually scroll down. You will get a drop down there and you can select the one. So by default, this is the look and feel of the Microsoft project. And before moving over to this small example, what I will say is that you can go to the home, and in the home, when you go to the options, in the options you will be able to see the schedule. So in the schedule, if you could see, this is very important before you start a particular project, because say in Dubai, if you could see that the day starts from, the week starts from Monday to Friday, but in Bahrain, if you could see, it starts from Sunday to Sunday to Thursday. So it actually depends. So when the week starts is actually very important. And other than that, the main thing is that you need to also set the timing of a day. So that means that this will be used for the calculation of your hours per day. So say by default it is actually given as 8 to 5, but if there is any other, say if you want to work only for 7 hours per day, if your company is asking you to work only for flexi hours like 4 hours a day or something like that, then you will have to select the corresponding, you need to do the changes or corresponding changes here. And apart from that, what I want to say is that in the display, you could see that the currency is basically SAR. Okay, so say if you want to change any of your money, say to Bahraini dinar, we will see whether it is available. So it is BHD, yes, it is available. So I am changing to Bahraini dinar, so that we can work with all the, or if you're working with Indian money, you can actually change it to the Indian calendar. So like that, if you want to change your calendar, you can change it. So all these things which you have to do initially itself, that you have to do it, otherwise it will be difficult for you. And your project will be saved in the documents folder where you want to save, and it will be in the .mpp Microsoft project document. So it is PP, it will be here. And so all this information which you want to see, so my preferred language, I have actually set it as English. And so all those small changes, if you want to set, you can actually set, and you'll be in your thing, you'll be shown with the Gantt chart, with the timeline will be shown here. So that is what it is. You have other options as well, but this is the most commonly used option by everyone. And the date format is say 28. Say if you want to change it to the MMDDYY or something like that, you can actually change it. So say if I want to change it, MM is 28, right? So if I want to change it as this format, January 28, so it is very clear for me what is happening. So if I want to do like that, I can do this, and who has created it and what should be the name. So if I click OK, so all those changes will be done. So these changes are important to be done earlier itself, because before starting with the project, otherwise it will be very difficult once you start with the project and change it later. And now say imagine that we are going to do a dog kennel project. Say the dog kennel project looks like this. So in that you will have um, a project where you have, this is your project name, and you have certain phases, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different phases, where you have an initiation phase, and you have a design phase, and material preparation phase, construction, and finishing. So always you will have some finishing or a closing phase. This is kind of your summary whether you have actually completed the project or not, so it will help you later. So these are the major things. So if you look at here in the sheet, I have actually written it and kept it ready. So this is the main project name, and we have an initiation phase, and we have a design phase, a material preparation phase, construction phase, and a finishing phase. So this is the project. So in this particular project I have all these phases, right? So what you could do is that, so all this initiation, design, material preparation, construction, and finishing, everything actually comes under this dog kennel project, right? So what you could do is that you are selecting all this, and you can go to the task. In the task you have this indentation, you can actually indent it. So that means that all this actually comes within the dog kennel project. That's the meaning of it. So now actually you can actually start it like this, right? So now another way is that you can actually, if you are clear about what you have to do, so in initiation what you have to do, say if you are very clear about what you have to do in initiation, like okay, I want to select the location and define the layout, I want to select the draft design and expert design review and the finalization. So you are very clear that you want these 3 things to be done under design, then you can actually list everything. Or what you could do is that you can as time goes, you can actually create it. Anyway, you have to have this complete plan before you proceed. So now in this example what I have actually done is that I have actually kept everything and everything listed here. Now this is our whole project. So I have actually written everything else as well. So when you look at this, initiation, select location, everything actually comes under within this kennel, right? So what we could do is that we are selecting everything, and you can go to the task. In the task you have something called intent task. So this becomes a subtask. So Alt Shift right, I am actually shifting it to the right. So now you know that everything actually comes as part of the initiation. Now when you look at it, you know that select location and define layout basically comes within the initiation part, right? So what you have to do is that you will select these 2, okay, and again you go to the task and write indent. So you could see that these 2 actually comes as a subtask of initiation here, right? So this actually comes, so when you close this, it comes as a subtask of the this initiation. Now when you look at the design, for the design, the draft design, expert design review, and finalized design. So these 3 actually comes as a subtask of the design. Okay, so you can go to the task and this indent, right? So now when you look at this, for the design you have these 3 subtasks, like draft design, expert design review, and this one. And for the material preparation you have identify materials, purchase materials, right? So like that you have to actually arrange it. So let me arrange it and show you. So now when you look at this, this is the way we have done it. So we have this main project name, then initiation phase, design phase, material preparation phase, then you have a construction phase and finishing phase, and these are all the subtasks inside, right? So this is what the first thing which you have to understand, how to create the task and how to subdivide the tasks. Now just imagine that, okay, you have done while you are creating this particular project, say one of your manager is telling you, like after the construction of the house, please test the house, okay? So you have to do a testing. So testing, say you have to do a floor testing, maybe a wall, whether the wall is actually good enough, and say if you want to check whether your roof is actually waterproof. So such kind of testing. If you want to add something, what you have to do is that, say you have to add say 4 different tasks in after this. So you can actually click over to it, then right click, and you will have something called insert task. Okay, so once you insert task, you can actually write the task here. So the first one is nothing but say we will just give it as testing, testing, and then here you can give it as floor test, and say here you can give it as wall test, and here you can give it as waterproof test. So just imagine that these are the various testing. So you know that this testing has to be outdented. So you can go to the task and you can actually outdent it. So this will become the outdenting. And now you want this floor test, wall test, and waterproof test to be indented inside. So you can actually, what you have to do is that you need to indent this. So yeah, it's already it's already indented, sorry. So it's already indented, so these three has to come inside this testing, right? So it is, we are correct, right? So but we have just added one more step inside this, which is nothing but the testing. So this is how you have to do. Now we need to know one difference between what do you mean by this automatically scheduling task and manual task. This is actually manual task. This question mark, if it comes over here, it is actually, there are two options for you. One is manually scheduled and the other one is auto scheduled, right? So what you could do is that if you want to make everything auto scheduled by the Microsoft project itself, you can actually click on auto schedule option. You can actually take the auto schedule option. So that is how it is actually done. Or if you want to manually schedule something, then you can actually go for this manually scheduling also. Okay, so normally we will go for the auto schedule. So you will have all this, and say if your project is starting from November 29, you can actually give in the calendar 29, you could see that all the from 29 on all the tasks will be actually created on 29. Say if you want to change your date, you can actually change the date. So I don't want to start my project, I want to start my project tomorrow itself. Then continue moving everything. So you could see that now here you could see that the task has been moved to Tuesday. So like that you could see. So this is something which you have to understand, how to actually change your dates and everything, so that you could see your changes in your project as well. So now the one thing which you have to understand here is that all this data is basically changed to auto scheduling. So auto scheduling option is applied over to the whole thing, because we have selected the complete thing and then we have actually applied it. Otherwise you can actually manually select each and every one. Say if you want to manually schedule this, you can actually select this and you can actually change everything which you want. So that is that option is also available. So this is nothing but the option which is actually there in the Microsoft project. So now as we have actually seen this auto scheduling option, the next option is basically coming out with the predecessor, right? So predecessor is nothing but so these are the resource names and all this they are there. So we can take this till here, right? And we can actually change it here, so you could see your this thing as well. So predecessors are nothing but those tasks which has to occur, right, before the other task. That is how it is. So select location and define layout. You don't have to worry about them, because that is actually done initially itself. Say if you look at the design, say if you look at the draft design, when you look at the draft design, both this 3 and 4 has to, 3 is this 3 and this 4. Okay, so this 3 and 4 has to happen before you enter this draft design, right? So probably you could give, one second, so you could give here here 3 comma 3 and 4. So now when you look at here, that means that, so this is your select location, and this is the define layout. These two has to happen before this draft designers has happened, is the meaning of it, right? So these two tasks has to happen. That is the meaning of that. Okay. So this just tells you about how the task has to be arranged or organized. So now the next one is basically expert design review. So expert design review can happen only if you have a draft design, right? So 6. So this is kind of an prerequisite step for this to happen, right? So we can actually give it as 6. Now when you look at the finalized design, this finalized design, for this to happen, you will be able to finalize the design only if you of your finalizing your expert review is actually done, right? So you could say it as 7, right? So now comes the material preparation. So you have to identify the materials and purchase the materials, right? So identifying the materials, for identifying the materials, you need to make sure that you have selected the location and the layout, right? Then only you can identify the material. So probably you could give it as 3 and 3 comma 4 here, right? So you should see how it is actually changing the design as well. So this task will happen, I mean, like, identify materials will happen only after these two tasks. This task is actually select the location and the define layout. Okay. Now purchasing the materials. So purchasing the materials will happen only after identifying the materials. So we can give it as 10. So when you see here, you could see that it is 10, right? Now the next one is basically cutting the wood. So cutting the wood can happen only if you have purchased the materials, right? You have to buy the wood for doing it. So probably you could give 11 here, right? So this is how it is. Now the other thing which you have to keep in mind is that, say you have to build the platform, add walls to the platform, add roof, right? So for that, you should have a finalized design, okay? And you should have already purchased all the materials, right? And you should have this cut wood. So basically 8, 11 and 13 has to be done for performing this for building the platform. So for building the platform, you should have done 8 and 11 and 13. Okay, 8, 11, 13 has to be done. So now one more thing which you have to keep in mind is here is that, so now when I click, actually there is a problem with the predicted information. Type only positive values. Okay, so let me see. Yeah, so 8. So these are the things which we have to do. Now one more thing which you have to do is that, so for performing this building the platform, you require you should have the cut wood, you should have already purchased the materials, and you should have finalized all the patterns. So these are the 3 things which comes to build platform, right? So like that, you have to actually find out the sequence of your operations and who all will be the predecessors for this operation. Okay, so now when you look at this one, all these operations like cut wood, build platform, everything has to happen one by one. So what I have done is that I have selected all the 3, and there is a chain option here. So you can actually click on the chain option. So what you could do is that so that one can't start until the other has finished. So cut wood, then you have to build the platform, then you have to add the walls, then you have to add the roof. So this has to be done as sequential manner. So all the things has to be done in a sequential manner, so you can actually do that. Okay, so this is nothing but so each one has to happen in a sequential manner, right? So I'm just clicking over here and doing it. That's all. Okay. So this is how you will actually make all the tasks in a sequential manner, right? So now the next one is, so like that I'll fill the rest of the topics as well. So for the floor testing, if you could see, for the floor testing, so this is your floor testing. For the floor testing, you have to finish your, you know, row. So you could give like, here for the floor testing, you will have to give, you have to build a platform, right? And for the wall test, you need to make sure that you have walls added to the platform. And for the waterproof test, probably you could think like you have already added the roof. So these are the ones which comes over there. And the painting the exterior, so while painting the exterior, you should have the roof, and then you should have the floor, and then you should have the walls, and you should also have the waterproof test. You could do that, right? So probably you could say that 16, you will have 16 here, then you will have 17, not 17, you will have 18 here, right? Then you will have 19 here, and you will also have 20, right? So you could see that all those things are actually getting incremented here. I mean, like, these are getting added here, the timelines are actually getting added here. And now the next one is, probably what you could do is that then the next one which you have to do is that clean up the debris. So clean up the debris has to happen after everything. So 22, you could give 22. And inspection, probably you could do it the very next day after everything is done. After cleaning up the debris, you could do it as after cleaning up the debris is the thing. And for the milestone, probably, you know, everything is done, and you should make sure that even the inspection is actually done, so your project is up to date. So this is how you will actually give the predecessors to the business. So if you could give the predecessors to the project like this, it is very clear that, you know, what are the various tasks that are there and how it has to be scheduled. So this is the proper scheduling of your task. Okay. So the next step will be like to correctly give the durations for each task, right? So what we have to do is that selecting the location. So selecting the location, probably you require only 1 day. So either you could use this or use this one. So 1 day you could select it. And then, you know, defining the layout also, you might require only 1 day. And so when you change this, you could see that the corresponding date and everything is actually getting changed as well. And now the draft design. So for the draft design, probably you might require a few more days. I mean, like maybe 2 days is required. And then the expert review. Expert review, you could probably, you know, you might require only 1 day to review your thing. And finalizing the design. So finalizing the design, probably if you have a proper expert for you to review, then you will require only 1 day. Then you could see that once you fix this question marks, you know, so all these 3 things actually comes under the design. So you could say that for the design you require 4 days, and accordingly you could see that the dates are actually getting changed. So you don't have to literally worry about the dates here. It is actually automatically getting changed. So this is what I want to say, right? Now the next one is actually the construction. So when you the identifying the materials. For identifying the materials, probably you require, because you don't know whether you will get the materials or not, or etc. So you might have to call people and see. And for purchasing, probably you will require some 3 to 4 days, or 3 days, probably will keep it as 3 days, right? And then for the construction of the house, you could say that for cutting the wood, probably if you know the design already, then you might require only 1 day. And then building the platform might require a little bit more, like 2 days. And then adding the wall, you might require a little bit of 2 days. And then adding the roof might also require I'll give something like 2 days, right? So this is this is your construction of the house, and then comes the testing. So in the testing, if you could see, I might, it's already done, so it's just testing. So I will, probably give 1 day of time for everything. Okay, so we will just give, like, 1 day for all the different testing which comes under the testing. Okay, and then comes the interior and the exterior and the cleanup debris. So like for cleaning you require painting the exterior you might require 1 day, and cleaning debris also we are taking 1 day, and for the inspection also we could take 1 day, right? And for the milestone of the project, it's already completed, so you don't require any specific days for it. So that's all, I guess, right? So once you require this, then actually your the number of the days here has to change. So auto schedule it. So when you auto schedule it, you could see that the number of the days is basically changed to, and here also we are auto scheduling it. Just a second. So when you auto schedule it, you could see that it is taking, so for this kennel project you are actually taking 17 days, and for this whole project, right? So this is how you will actually set the duration. So you have to think and break your head, and then decide your duration. So now that we have we have seen about the days, now we need to add the resources to this. So say click on this Gantt chart. Okay, click on this Gantt chart, right click, and go to the resource sheet. So when you look at the resource sheet, you will have this information. So say just we have 3 or 4 people working on it. So say 3 people. So we have Ahmed who is working on this sheet, and then we have Jamal who is actually working on this, and we have also called Dana who is actually working on this, and we have a carpenter who will cut the woods for us. Carpenter who will cut the wood for us. Okay, and apart from that, the materials which we require say wooden planks, which we require wooden planks, and we require nails to fix them, and we also require so these are the materials which we require. Now when you look at it here, so Ahmed, Dana, and all of them are work related, and they have a standard rate associated for their work, and so we know that, right? And now for the carpenter, it is actually it's the cost, I mean, like, it is an extra cost which we will be giving upon the carpenter, and wooden plank is a material, and also nail comes as a material. So when you look at it, say for who is it, Ahmed, for Ahmed, say we could pay almost just a second, say we are paying almost say he is the head, so we are paying 30 BT per hour. Okay, and here say we are actually for Jamal, they are the people who are apprentice, so we could say just 25 BT per hour. Okay, and say for the cost of your carpenter, so instead of prorated, what you could do is that you can actually give him at the end of your you can give it at the end. And for the wooden planks, we need to calculate, I mean, like, it is not that maybe a feet length has to be taken. So feet length is calculated here, and per feet length we can actually give the standard rate. Okay, sorry, so this had to be filled here, not the over rate. Okay, so second, so here I'm just filling it as 0 itself. 0, here it is here it is 0, and we have to change the standard rate here to say 30, and here we are changing to 25, and here we have to change it to 25 for Dana. And for the wooden plank, per feet, probably you could say that 3.5, okay, BD, and here you could say that it is say for each box you will have some 2.5, so not 25, 2.5, 2.5 BD or something like that. Okay, so per box the nails, right? And so these are the things which you have to actually keep in mind. And the calendar is the base calendar which we have selected, right? So we could select the calendar as a standard calendar, so that we know that he works normal calendar, standard calendar, like morning to, and yeah, okay. So these are the things which we have to add. So now when we look at this, so Ahmed, we have got the initials, and okay, so all those things are done and correct, and that's it, right? So now we can go back to the Gantt chart. So again, go to this resource sheet, right click, and you can go to the Gantt chart, right? So this is how you will actually add the resources. So you can actually go to the resources and assign resources. That is what you have done. You could do that as well. So now we need to assign all those resources which we have actually written. So you can go to the resources tab. In the resources tab you have something called assign resources. Say just imagine that Ahmed, so all those people who are actually people and the materials which are responsible for this project is listed here. So what you would do is that just imagine like select location, define, and say inspection is to be done by Ahmed, and I'm clicking on Ahmed and I'm clicking assign. So I have selected here. I can multi-select the task which Ahmed has to do. So select location, so control, and I'm just selecting the normal control, and I'm selecting all this, and I'm selecting Ahmed here and assign. So when I do that, selecting Ahmed here and assigning it. So you could see that Ahmed has been assigned to the select location, define layout, and inspect, right? So these are the places where Ahmed has been allocated. Say if I want to remove Ahmed from here, so I could simply remove Ahmed from one particular place. So that is also possible, right? So now when you look at the timeline chart, you could also see that Ahmed has been actually written here, right? So Ahmed name has been actually, wherever Ahmed has to do his job, his name has been assigned, right? So like that actually we can go ahead and add the other people as well. Say just imagine that we can add now say Dana, right? So Dana to the draft design, expert review, right? So we could actually give Dana expert review, design this one, okay? And also we could so this one we will assign it to Dana, so that will be actually appearing in your this thing also, who will do that task, right? And then the other one is purchasing the materials, right? So purchasing the materials, identifying the materials. If you can, probably I will remove Dana from here, because I could actually give it to the same people. So probably identifying the materials, purchasing the materials, I can give it to Jamal, right? So I can give it to Jamal, and then what I could do is that cutting the wood, right? So cutting the wood has to be given to the carpenter. So this has to be selected, and carpenter has to be selected, and carpenter has to be assigned here. So cutting the wood has to be done by carpenter, and probably building the platform, okay, adding walls, okay, adding roof, I can give it to Jamal, okay, I shall give it to Jamal, okay, and then probably the code test randomly giving to people and what code testing also to Jamal. So if I want to add multiple people, that is also possible. Okay, I can select those two and actually add them. Okay, but here I am just adding just Jamal here. I don't want to add carpenter there. I'm just removing them. So I'm selecting this four, this one, these three, and Jamal as okay. And now the last one is actually this exterior and this thing. So probably Dana I think has got only less, so we will add Dana there. I'll take this out and I'll add Dana. This one Dana, and I will assign, right? So this is how it is. So now when you look at the designs, so now you have actually allocated everyone, but when there are certain things which you could see here as the red color. So the task has over allocated resources, right? So what do you mean by that? Now you need to know that, or how can you actually rectify, and how can you actually schedule your task to the right resources at the right amount. Okay, that is also important, right? So for that, so now another thing which you have to also keep in mind is that say this we didn't notice, so as it is actually only one box of nails that we have to use. So say if we require say 10 boxes of nails, and say if we require some 10 foot, then you need to update it, so it will be updated accordingly. So this material cost which you have to apply, and assign it. Okay, so this is something which you have to keep in mind on while you're giving the rates. The number of the units has to be decided properly. So now coming back to what we were actually talking about, those red symbols. So this basically shows that these people are actually over allocated, right? So for that, what you have to do is go to the Gantt chart, right click, and go to the resource usage. Okay, so when you go to the resource usage, you could see that Ahmed, right? So Ahmed has been actually utilized. So for a day, okay, for a day. So now I'm just moving it here so that I have a look over to what is the number of the hours that he is actually working with. So basically he is actually working on a single day. Monday he is actually working 16 hours. So which is not actually feasible for him to work for 16 hours. Then in the same way, Jamal is working on two different tasks, 16 hours. So these are the things which we need to identify, because we should know that whom we could rearrange and give. And again, there is another person who is actually working on two different things. So these are the over allocations which have actually happened. Now we need to fix this, right? So in order to fix this, what we need to do is that when we look over here, it is 24 hours and 120 hours. So all those hours has been given here. So we need to adjust that. So for that, what you have to do is that we were in the right click, we were in the resource usage, right? So in the resource usage, you understood that what has to be done. So now you have to go back to the Gantt chart mode itself, because we need to rearrange. So you're going back to the Gantt chart mode. So in the Gantt chart mode, you could see that Jamal is actually been. So either you can click from here and click Dana, okay, and here also you can actually give it to remove Jamal and add Dana. So it's okay. Now what you have to do is that Ahmed is actually also having yeah. So here the other thing which you have to keep in mind is that, so probably here he's not overloaded, he's overloaded in such a way that he has to select the location and the layout at the same day, so he has 16 hours of workload. So probably what we could do is that we could give that in the defined layout you could actually give this select location as one of the predecessor. Okay, so if you give like that, if you could see that, you know, it's his load is actually distributed. Okay, his load is actually distributed now, but you will take, you know, almost 21 days to make your kennel, that's all. So this is how you have to actually identify. So from where will you identify? So you can go to the Gantt chart, click on the Gantt chart, right here you have something called the resource usage here. So in the resource usage you will be able to see the which days and who is actually getting, you know, more number of hours, who is over allocated, all this information you can see it from here. So you can go back to the Gantt chart and you know, go to the resources and reassign the tasks, so that, you know, you'll be able to make sure that also it's not only that you have to shift the names, you can also see that any of the other tasks could be like, say if you can adapt more number of days, then you could actually go for this. Say you are in a situation like you have to finish this whole setting up the kennel by 17 days, then you cannot do this. So according to the constraints of your project, you have to select what you have to do. Okay, so this is how you have to do this you know, a resource allocation. Now the other thing which we have to know is about the cost of your project. So for that you are actually selecting the whole project, and then you can actually right click here and go to the cost. So when you look at here, you could say that what would be the total cost for each, and so this is the total cost of your project, and what would be the cost associated with initiation, what is the cost associated with design. So the split of the cost could also be understood from this you know, the cost, right? So now the next one is that you can go back to the you know, entry. Is there something called entry here? Okay, so now so you could go back to the view. Yes, here the entire project, when you click on the entire project, so probably when you're actually checking it for the first time, you will not get that entry table view. So you can go to this more tables. In the more table you can see this entry. Okay, so entry and apply it, so you will get your initial view. Okay, so this entry table view is something which you have to use. So if you want to get the cost, you can select the whole project, right click here, go to the cost. Okay, and now when you right click here, go to the more tables, there will be something called entry and apply, so you will get your normal view. Okay, so this is one thing. Then the other thing which you should know is about the project. So in the project you will have something called project information. So in the project information you will have this information about the start date, the end date and all this stuff. So just imagine that you want to start your project, say you know, maybe, you know, say we will start our project in December 1st. Okay, you want to start your project December 1st. Okay, then what you could do is that when you click OK, you could see that the complete you know, the schedule for your project has been changed. I mean, like your initial date and the end date, and so when you start your project December 1, when is your last so this by December 24th only it will get, you know, changed. So all this information is basically changed here, right? So all this information you could actually see that it is changed. So this is one way of changing it. Okay, now the last one which I wanted to tell you is that, say if you take this project information, so when you take this project information, there is something called statistics here. So when you look at the statistics, you will get the complete idea about, you know, when the project will be started, when it will be entered, and what would be the total cost for each and everything, and whether your project is actually completed or not. Okay, so when you complete everything, this means that your work is completed altogether, right? So this is how actually you will you know, develop a complete Microsoft project. Okay, so now you have actually come out with a small project of Dog Kennel Project, where you had initiation, design and material preparation, construction, testing and finishing. These are all the different phases, and you actually made the sub phases, and then you have actually um, the what is that made it as auto filled it, right? So in your task you have something called auto schedule. You have actually auto scheduled it. Then you have actually decided about the days, the start date and the end date. You have actually set the predecessor, so the predecessors has to be set, then only you will get that right flow for your project. So once you set the flow for your project predecessors, then you have to come out and do your duration. So once the duration is set, you can actually go and assign the people. You can select from the resources. You have resource sorry, from the from here you have two things. One is actually when you right click here, you have resource sheet and resource usage. Resource sheet, you will be able to see the, you will give all the people who are actually associated with it and the materials and everything required. And in the resource usage, you can actually understand whether is there any person who is actually overloaded or not, or whatever it is. You can arrange it again by coming back to the resources and assigning it to the people. And then the other one is actually you can go to the project and see the project information, and if you want to change any of your date or anything like that, you can actually change it. And now the last one is nothing but in the project information itself, you have got the statistics, which will give you the complete statistics about your project. You could see that how much percentage of your work has been actually completed. Now we have actually completed the whole work. So if we have not completed the whole work, it will show you some percentage which is yet to be completed. So that's all about it. So this is all about your Microsoft project, and this is how you will actually do the working of your Microsoft project. And one last thing which I wanted to tell you is that this is your task, right? So this is your main task. So you will have December 1st and December 6th and December, all those milestones which are actually shown here. So if you want to add here, you can actually click on that. And if you don't want this, you can actually simply take this out, so that the display, the way that actually it is displayed will be changed. Okay, so this is all about your Microsoft project. So try it by yourself and make your hands dirty, make mistakes, then only you will understand. Otherwise you will never understand. Okay, all the best. So hope you understand this. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, you can actually get back to me. Thank you.